For almost 40 years, Gen X did exactly what they were told. Work hard, buy a house, stay loyal to your family, keep your head down, don't make a scene, build a life that was supposed to feel safe. And for a long time, it looked like it worked. The career, the mortgage, the retirement account slowly growing in the background. From the outside, it looked like success, exactly as promised. But quietly, millions of Gen Xers are starting to look around at the life they built and asking a question they never expected to ask. I worked so hard for all of this, so why does it feel like a cage? Before we go further, if this is already hitting close to home, take a second to subscribe to Labyrinth Psychology. This is where we explore the psychology quietly shaping who we become. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. The promise was simple, and it was never written down anywhere, but everyone understood it. Study hard, be dependable, be loyal, buy the house, keep the family together, save for retirement, don't complain. Eventually, it will pay off. For a while, that promise seemed to be keeping its end of the deal. Then, slowly, the terms started shifting. A promotion meant more work and less time. The house became another source of debt and worry instead of security. Companies that once rewarded decades of loyalty started restructuring, downsizing, merging, or replacing the very people who had given them everything. Retirement kept moving further away every time the economy shifted. And through all of it, Gen X kept adapting, because adapting is what they've always known how to do. They moved from paper files to cloud systems, from stable schedules to being reachable at all hours, translating themselves over and over for older bosses who valued obedience and younger workplaces that demanded constant reinvention. They became fluent in every new system while quietly wondering why each one seemed to demand more and give back less. This is where the exhaustion begins, not the ordinary kind of tired that disappears after a weekend off. This is something psychology sometimes describes through a concept called ego depletion, the gradual wearing down that happens when a person has to constantly regulate their emotions, suppress their reactions, and keep functioning under pressure, day after day, for years. For Gen X, that pressure comes from every direction at once. At work, they have to stay relevant, flexible, and grateful just to keep their seat at the table. At home, they're the person everyone calls when something breaks. An aging parent needing help, an adult child needing support, a spouse who's overwhelmed, a sibling who's unavailable. They became the bridge between generations, explaining technology to their parents and explaining reality to their kids. But almost no one ever asks who's supposed to carry them. That question rarely comes up because competence has a strange side effect. It makes a person invisible. When you're the reliable one, people stop wondering what reliability might be costing you. So here's a question worth sitting with for a moment, uncomfortable as it might feel. When was the last time you did something entirely for yourself? Not because your family needed it, not because your job expected it, not because someone would be disappointed if you said no. For a lot of Gen X adults, the answer doesn't come quickly. And that silence, right there, is the real problem. A life can look completely successful on paper, the title, the house, the family, the retirement account, while slowly becoming almost impossible to live inside. When that feeling lasts long enough, the mind starts protecting itself. People stop volunteering. They stop over-explaining. They stop trying to be understood by people who only seem to value what they provide. There's another psychological trap hiding underneath all of this, something researchers call the sunk cost fallacy. The belief that because you've already invested years, energy, loyalty, and identity into something, you have to keep investing, even when it's clearly draining you. 30 years in a career, decades maintaining a certain lifestyle, A lifetime protecting a role inside the family. The mind whispers, "You can't stop now. You've given too much already." But for a growing number of Gen Xers, a different voice has started answering back. "That's exactly why I can't keep giving." That realization brings up grief, uncertainty, sometimes even shame. Because the moment you stop living by the blueprint, you have to ask a much harder question. Who are you without the job that used to introduce you, without the house that proved you'd made it, without always being the person who says yes? This is why so many Gen Xers aren't making a scene about any of this. There's no dramatic blow-up, no public meltdown. They're simply standing at the edge of a life they once fully believed in, quietly realizing that staying might cost them whatever's left of who they actually are underneath all those roles. And the hardest part is this: they're not stepping back because they stopped caring. They're stepping back because caring has quietly used up nearly everything they had left to give. If any part of this feels familiar, it doesn't mean something is broken in you. It might just mean you've finally noticed the gap between the promise you were sold and the life it actually built. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow or upend everything overnight to start closing that gap. Sometimes it starts much quieter than that. Simply asking yourself, honestly, what a certain part of your life is truly costing you, and giving yourself permission to let the answer matter. If this story feels like your own, you're welcome to share, in the comments, what you've been quietly walking away from. Someone reading it might realize they're not the only one questioning a life they were promised would feel like enough.